success is mine, quarterback.
Spoilers ahead. Hey everybody, and welcome to Cinemattraction. I'm Heat Guy Jay, and with me, as always, is cold to the bone,
John.
It's a heat wave here in England at the moment. But I tell you what, it's nice and chilly in here since John got here. He brings the chill with him.
Yes. So what did you want to talk about? You've set
I want to talk to you about something because on a few podcasts ago, you were talking to me about Royal Rumbles.
Yes.
And you were talking about how you'd sort of done you'd sort of done statistics about it, and you'd noticed similarities.
I'd made some observances.
And then I went on YouTube and I start watching Royal Rumbles. And then after I start watching Royal Rumbles, I start watching...
You start noticing stuff?
No, I start watching matches.
Right. I didn't watch any of the
Segment matches that I've got up on there.
What
And then I start watching things to do with wrestlers, like just channels to do with, the wrestlers that hated their gimmicks, 10 wrestlers who really hated their gimmicks that maybe you didn't know that,
Right.
or 10 gimmicks that really failed, or something like. And then in the end,
Was
I'm like,
Hornswoggle on there?
and then in the end, I'm like, there's going to be nothing I can't do anything about this. I'm going to have to get the WWE network, aren't I?
Oh, you didn't.
I did.
Oh, my God.
I bought a subscription this morning, and I watched In Your House, Revenge of the Taker.
What's that?
It's one of they used to have In Your House in between like the big shows like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. They used to have In Your Houses back in the early 90s.
They were seasonal, weren't they? So you'd have SummerSlam, you'd have different seasons. You'd have these main events.
So like in the autumn, you'd have SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, Survivor Series.
Survivor Series.
You'd have SummerSlam summer and all that. Yeah. So
Royal Rumble.
So anyway, In Your House used to be in between. So they have In Your House ones, and then they give them names. So it'd be like Revenge of the Taker, or it'd be like there was one called Beware of Dog, where Bret Hart fought the British Bulldog.
Beware of the Dog. Great.
But the thing that sold it to me is the fact that I am such a mark for the old WWF.
What do you constitute as the old one? What era?
I'm talking about like 88 to.
Oh God,
you know
that's
what I mean?
really old.
I'm talking about 88, 89, where like Bret Hart was sort of coming up and he was sort of starting to get into the tag team, and then
Hulk Hogan and
that's when I actually started to get
Warrior
into it. Yeah,
Sergeant Slaughter and all
that's
that
it. That's when I started to get into it.
Okay.
But then obviously I was a fan for years and years and years, and religiously watched wrestling events, and I know all these wrestling events that are on there. So I mean, you can watch any of them. And the other thing is I'm not trying to sell the WE network here, but you can see any of the WCW.
Oh, okay.
You can see
They're on there as well?
Yeah,
Oh,
ECW.
okay.
So the
AEW
catalogue, the catalogue is massive. So to be honest, if you like any wrestling from whenever it is, you don't have to be into the modern wrestling. Like I'm not particularly up with.
I don't know. Yeah.
I know a guy called Seth Rollins.
Okay.
But, and I know
Seth freaking Rollins, isn't it?
Is it? Okay. I saw him on YouTube do a thing where he ate American snacks versus UK snacks.
Oh wow!
And they got him to like eat a Scotch egg, I think.
Oh, okay. Drink
like
some Iron Brew, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks to you. This is your fault. What I'm trying to get round to.
It's not my fault at all.
No. I was tangenting a bit. It was your fault for getting me back into the old stuff, because I want to now take a trip through my teenagehood, my young teenagehood into adulthood. I want to take a trip down memory lane watching The Undertaker and
I didn't buy you this subscription. You can't blame me for that.
No, I know you didn't buy it for me.
All I said was I've been watching Royal Rumbles on YouTube.
But let me ask you, if I say to you, would you like to use it? You're not going to say no, are you?
I probably wouldn't say no.
There you go.
There we are.
But so I've been
congratulations.
crazy.
Yeah, cool.
I've been crazy to rewatch WrestleManias and stuff because I haven't seen them in years.
They did a WrestleMania at Caesar's Palace once, didn't they? And Hulk Hogan had like a weird eye.
They had it in like a car park of Caesar's Palace.
Really?
Because they couldn't get that many people in the audience, and it was all done Roman style.
Roman style with
And you're like this, right?
Didn't Hulk Hogan have like a weird eye? He had like his eye gouged or something.
He did. Something happened with Yokozuna where I think he got. I think Harvey Whippleman. Do you remember him?
Harvey Whippleman.
He was dressed as a cameraman, and he came up on the side and flashed Hulk Hogan with a camera.
Right.
Like as if he was a paparazzi.
I'm glad you said camera.
Yeah, with a camera. Yeah, with a camera. If it had been anything else, I think Hogan's eyes may have like just rotted out, maybe.
Indeed.
So yeah, anyway, that was actually considered one of the worst WrestleManias, even though...
I remember that one.
Yeah, but even though it's a really memorable one, and if you watch Groundhog Day, when Bill Murray gives Michael Shannon the tickets, because he plays one of a young husband, doesn't he, who's getting married?
Yeah.
When he gives him those tickets, that's the year of Caesar's Palace. So they're going to that one.
We go on to WrestleMania. So.
When he goes, we go to WrestleMania.
Have you ever been to a WrestleMania?
No, sadly not.
Okay, you've been to some WWE events, right?
Yeah, I've been to. I've been to quite a few live shows, and I was at the live one in 2000 called Insurrection.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's on there because,
I presume it is.
but if it is on there, you will see. There's one that says "The Rock is 2 thumbs fresh."
Because you're holding up those boards.
Yeah, because at the time there was a tea bag advert where about 2 thumbs fresh, and I was kind of thinking it was quirky and like the Rock is so cool, he's 2 thumbs fresh sort of thing.
Right.
And and on the other side of the sign it says Euphoria and Ambrosia.
What?
It says Euphoria and Ambrosia.
What does that mean?
Well, Euphoria is like bliss, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Ambrosia is like the food of the gods, isn't it?
What's that got to do with What's that got to do with wrestling?
I don't know. I was a crazy kid.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So anyway, you would like this comment at WrestleMania 9 because Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, turns around and calls Lex Luger the narcissist, the Lexorcist.
He's in a wheelchair now, isn't he?
Who?
Lex Luger.
Possibly. I mean, Mr. Perfect is dead, sadly. Yeah. He's no longer with us. Yeah. I have weird feelings about Lex Luger because I think he had something to do with the death of lovely Elizabeth.
Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah, Miss Elizabeth. And as you know, the lovely Elizabeth was everybody's lovely Elizabeth. Everybody liked her.
I like the...
Did you like Sherry?
Yeah, I like how trashy
she
was.
Yeah, Sherry. She really was, wasn't she?
Sort of like dirty old man.
Yeah.
I love sensational Sherry. She was sensational. Die Hard. It's a 1988 action epic directed by John McTiernan, co-written by Jed Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza, based on the novel Nothing Lasts Forever. Stephen E. D'Souza did Street Fighter.
I thought I recognised the name.
So that's why I referenced it.
I think I I thought I recognised D'Souza.
It's only blooming Christmas Eve, and New York detective John McClane flies to Los Angeles as he's been invited by his estranged wife Holly to the Christmas party held by her employer, the Nakatomi Corporation, at the under-construction Nakatomi Plaza. It's all very lovely and swank in there. They have a touchscreen computer which will help you find an employee as well as your zipper. John McClane
Can I just talk about this screen?
Certainly, go for it. Holly Gennaro.
The guy turns around and says, "It's on the 30th floor. They're the only people here." Why didn't he say to Bruce Willis, if she's here, she'll be on the 30th floor?
Well, he could be anyone coming in.
I think that bit was only just to point out the fact she's not using McClane, really, isn't it? Just a way of saying that they're sort of estranged.
Yeah, it also sort of underlines the fact that there's, the building is empty for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's still under construction and all the rest of it. John McClane is given the red carpet LA welcome, taking a fancy pants limo to the Nakatomi Plaza driven by Argyle on his first day on the job. John sits up front because he's a relatable working class man, you see.
From New York.
And Argyle, a former cabbie, grills him about his crumbling marriage, ultimately offering to hang back in the Plaza garage in case John McClane needs a quick exit. What a lovely man Argyle is.
Yes, he spent all evening while this whole thing unravels.
Listen to that same song.
Listen to that same Stevie Wonder song.
Get ready to move. I think it sets up John McClane perfectly.
Yes, I think it does.
He's a streetwise New York cop. He's out of his environment. His marriage is a mess. But he's here and he's looking to get some answers at the very least.
Yeah.
So, John arrives at the soiree. And he has a bit of a mooch around, and he meets bossman Joe Takagi, who is absolutely glorious. A genial, well-spoken, impeccably dressed corporate leader. Those suits are John Phillips, don't you know? Takagi brings John into Holly's office, where they encounter medicated sales goon Ellis. Holly soon strides in, and the couple are left to catch up. Holly is played by Bonnie Bedelia,
Yes.
who is Macaulay Culkin's aunt.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Her brother is Kit Culkin, who is Macaulay Culkin, and the other Culkin brothers.
Yes.
The dad.
Yes.
Ellis's love for the scent of his medication ultimately gets him killed. He's a slimy salesman, and Hart Bochner plays him to perfection. I love the exchanges between him and Bedelia.
Yes.
I think they're really good. It's a Rolex. Meanwhile, a group of naughty boys arrive at the plaza. A truck enters the loading bay of the building while a fast-talking lad in a delightful winter sweater and a stern-looking lad with a beautiful flowing barnet wander into the reception, where they off the lad at the desk as well as the security guard. So John and Holly are catching up, and it would appear the couple haven't actually seen each other for about 6 months.
They're basically having a little sort of semi-argument in her office. Yeah. I noticed at the beginning of the film, when you see the word Die Hard, there's some sleigh bells that sort of sound out of tune. Yeah. That give a sort of ominous sound to perhaps what's coming rather than a merry thing. Also, when they're playing Ode to Joy in that office, I also noticed that sounds slightly out of tune. If you really sort of hear that
again, actually.
It doesn't sound good. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. No. I don't know whether that's supposed to reflect the
bit of foreboding.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just noticed that. And also, I have a problem with this line, and I always have because I had to look it up. I didn't realise what Joe Takagi says to John McClane when he says to him that he didn't think the Japanese celebrated Christmas.
Right.
And he says, hey, we're flexible. Pearl Harbor didn't work out, so we got you tape decks.
So we got you with tape decks.
Oh, we got you with tape decks, is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So he was... I don't really...
Or the Japanese assault, maybe?
That was very subtle, wasn't it?
Pearl Harbor didn't...
That was very subtle, though, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Joe Takagi. You leave him alone. Cue the arrival of the naughty boys. Yes. I'm not sure the actor's name, or the character's name for that matter, but as they pile out of the elevator, there's one lad on the left in a leather jacket who sort of curls out and emerges sort of holding a machine gun upright, who is acting the hell out of that moment.
Yes. Isn't he the one that gets his leg shot to hell and then he falls like on the... You know where a door would be? You know where all the shooting is with the glass? And he falls right on the door frame bit, doesn't he? His face does.
Yeah.
Looks really... Isn't that the guy, I think?
It's the same guy, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that craft.
He has a hell of a death, doesn't he? Especially the way he's running along and then he's like boom, boom, and his
incredible entrance.
Eyes blow out.
Like Vince McMahon. He has an incredible entrance.
He does.
And a beautiful ending.
He does. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of that clone trooper in Attack of the Clones. That when the clones all invade the Geonosis execution stadium, the one clone trooper gets out and takes up the whole of the screen in front of the other clone troopers and Yoda.
Alan Rickman's right there, but I'm only looking at that guy.
That's what I'm talking about. When you're watching that, all you can see is that clone trooper.
I appreciate your effort, lad, whoever you are. All hell breaks loose, shots are fired, and John springs into action. He makes a dash for the fire exit as the goons search the offices, who are briefly distracted by two partygoers doing a spot of Hide the Yule Log. So, the leader of the gang introduces himself. He's a German fella named Hans Gruber. Ladies and gentlemen... The plaza has been taken over and the partygoers are hostages. Gruber addresses the crowd of hostages, asking for Nakatomi bossman Takagi. So the introduction of Alan Rickman's Hans Gruber then.
I like that bit because I think they stole that bit from this bit in Die Hard to use in The Dark Knight, where the Joker bursts into the soiree and he doesn't know where Bruce Wayne is, does he, and stuff? He doesn't know who Batman is or something, does he?
I see. I disagree now.
Do you not think so?
So Gruber comes out. He's completely commanding.
Yeah, but he doesn't know who Takagi is.
I disagree.
Do you think he did know who he was?
Well, okay, so Gruber juggles the dominant and cool, calculated leader. He's done his homework.
Right.
He knows precisely who Takagi is. He references Takagi's education, the fact that he was
of course he does. Yeah.
His upbringing, the number of kids.
Yeah.
But
he's going to know what he looks like, isn't he?
Well, exactly. Yeah. He's going to. But what he does is he's going to unsettle everybody in that room by sort of walking around interrogating.
Right. Yeah.
He's in control, as he says. We are. You will be witnesses. Takagi duly steps forward. There's a brief clash when Takagi halts Gruber's horrible little intimidation game with a stern "Enough!" I love Takagi. He's not my favourite character. We'll get into him in a little while. Takagi and Gruber wander off into the boardroom where Gruber lays out his intentions. Gruber is a thief, posing as a terrorist. He and his gang plot to steal $640 million in untraceable bearer bonds, which are held in the building's vault, which is governed by a computer. Takagi is believed to know the access code to the vault computer, and Gruber threatens him in order to extort this info. Yes?
Yeah.
So Gruber has Theo, the lad in the fetching winter sweater, in place to hack and drill into the vault. Gruber is holding all of the cards, and he would ideally like to make the robbery as delightfully efficient, German
efficiency, isn't it?
possible,
Yeah, it is.
by simply getting Takagi to open the door for them. But Takagi obviously refuses, and Gruber offs him. John is watching the whole thing go down from cover in the next room and alerts Gruber's minions when he reacts, I suppose, and responds to Takagi's
Because if you notice, they don't really kill any hostages. Do you see what I mean? Only when they have to.
Well, they kill Ellis.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but that's because he kind of steps out of line, doesn't he? He starts getting cocky and
he's a hostage that they kill.
I know, but I'm just saying, like most of them, they're not up for just they're not wanting to just kill and get the money. They want to get in and out as quickly as
efficiently
possible.
as possible. But
yeah.
he's got his bases covered. He's holding all the cards.
Yeah.
So,
I think that death of Joe Takagi is very shocking.
Yeah,
very shocking.
I wasn't expecting it.
No, and when I saw it as a kid, it really was really shocking to me.
But it helps you really understand what Gruber's all about.
Yes.
He's got... I think Takagi has the chance to save himself, but his pride and his commitment to his company stops him.
Right, so you think he does know?
I don't think he does the right thing. Beautiful Takagi. Because either way, Gruber is going to get inside of that vault.
Yeah.
Isn't he? But Takagi perhaps misjudges Gruber, and up to that point, Takagi doesn't understand what Gruber and his group are capable of. Yeah. I presume Takagi would be aware that, these guys would have used some violence or force or something or other at the reception to get up to that, to get up to their level, to get up to that floor. Though I feel that
unless he thought he was bluffing.
Well, exactly. Takagi perhaps doesn't know what Gruber is all about necessarily, but I feel as though Takagi would have been smarter to have bargained with Gruber. I know that one way or another you're going to get into the vault, so I request you release the hostages and I will give you the code.
Yeah.
Takagi would have been fired by his superiors
of course he would.
For giving away the content of the vault. But negotiating the safe exit of the hostages would have been excellent PR, and Takagi would have been a hero. So it would have been fine.
That would have been good PR, wouldn't it? Getting all the people out.
Yeah,
because the company cares about people first.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he didn't do the right thing.
But I feel as though he could have saved himself, but his pride perhaps got.
And you would have seen more Takagi.
And I would have seen more of that beautiful John Phillips suit.
You would.
I mean, rumours are that Arafat buys his there.
That is the truth.
Anyway, John legs it and evades the goons. Stuck, bewildered, and in urgent need of help, he rings the fire alarm on the under construction floor in which he is hiding out on. The fire officers come calling, to John's delight. He'll kiss the Dalmatian, don't you know? But soon retreat as Gruber calls in a false alarm. Armed goon Tony is sent up to the floor in which the alarm was raised to see if anybody's actually hiding up there. John and Tony have a bit of a scuffle, which ends with Tony breaking his neck on a stairway. Or in the stairway?
Yeah, because he can't do that because he's a policeman.
You're a policeman.
There are rules
for policemen. John finds Tony's ID and radio, and sure enough, now he has a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. John sends Tony back down to the floor in which Gruber and the hostages are held or located.
Yeah.
With a message. Fly in the ointment, a monkey in the wrench, a pain in the arse. John uses the radio to call the Popo for help, and my favourite blooming character, Sergeant Al Powell, arrives. At first, things seem all very hunky-dory, but Powell enters the building where a smiling fake receptionist eases Powell's fears.
Yes. He had $50 on that game, didn't he?
He did.
On them assholes. He goes to
play football games on Christmas Eve in the United States. It's a bit of a
weird
idea. Powell confirms a wild goose chase to the dispatch. However, John has a whole pack of goons on his tail, having radioed for help, tracking from the roof through the air vents and into the boardroom where Takagi was offed. John caps one of the goons rushing in, as well as Marco, after a chase across the boardroom table. No more table!
Oh, yeah. Love that bit.
Fun fact, Bruce Willis was partially deafened in one ear during this scene in which he fires a gun from his chest area.
Yeah. I was thinking of that when you... I remember you telling me that, and I was thinking of that.
You can literally see the man losing his hearing.
Yeah, I was thinking of that when I was watching that scene, because I love all the sneaking about he does in the film.
I love all that.
Yeah, it's just, and like that bit where you first hear the terrorists coming in and there's that crack in the door.
Yeah.
It's really, actually, I thought quite like a noir shot, almost. Like sort of a PI, sort of looking in the crack. There's loads of great shots in this. And I think when I was a kid watching it, I never realised how funny it is.
It's really funny.
There's just these random funny bits that you just, I don't know, you just don't expect them to be there.
Right.
Like when they send in the LAPD.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So John sees my favourite character leaving and slings Marco's body from the window onto his car. Welcome to the party, Al. It's a good thing that officer had a view of the plaza, isn't it? John now has capped a number of the baddies. The police have gotten involved and he's stolen a big old bag full of explosives which were required to open the vault, I think. A SWAT team arrives and attempts to storm the building. It's a really silly decision. The team wade in without knowing what's going on inside and are cut to ribbons by the terrorists. Send in the car. Yeah. Send in the car. Don't like that guy. John intervenes by slinging some of the explosives down the elevator shaft, which is a bit silly and reckless in itself because that monitor...
That could have
could have veered off.
And blown like the building.
Blown up the floor in which all the hostages are on.
I know.
Bye, Holly.
I do like the bit with the car coming in, though.
Send in the car.
Yeah, and he goes, the quarterback is toast.
Quarterback is toast. I do love Theo. I love all the characters in this. Ellis has had enough and steps forward to try and negotiate with Gruber, which doesn't end well for Ellis. John encounters Gruber when Gruber heads to the roof to check on a trap of explosives. Gruber pretends to be one of the Nakatomi employees and John hands him a weapon for self-defense. Gruber attempts to shoot John, but the weapon is actually not loaded.
Yeah, but you know what? John's on to Gruber here.
He is.
You know why? He hands him a cigarette.
Right.
And Bill Clay doesn't turn around and say, What's with these foreign cigarettes? These are German.
Yeah.
Because if you asked for a cigarette from an American person, you would imagine they would give you
an American brand
cigarette,
sure.
not European.
Fancy German cigarettes.
Yeah.
What are German fancy cigarettes?
They're the ones that Hans Lander smokes because he says
we might talk about him.
These are not French. They are German. He points that out, doesn't he?
So the weapon is not loaded. He tries to shoot him anyway.
Yes.
Though he is saved when his goons arrive at the scene. John flees, but he's injured on some shattered glass, ultimately losing Gruber's detonators. So Ellis is presented with a Coca-Cola during the negotiations.
Yes.
But he's clearly said, I can give you McLean if you give me some Coke.
Yes.
I don't think this was the Coke he was after.
I don't think so.
I love the exchange. I love the exchange between John and Gruber, actually, with Bill Clay. You see, I would buy Gruber as Bill Clay.
Would you?
I'd buy him as that. Wouldn't you? Gruber's got it going on.
I managed to get out of there with my squirty accent.
If this were his introduction, if this were Gruber's introduction,
right,
and he was posing as Bill Clay, you'd say, "Oh, Bill Clay," right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he did. Well, he doesn't look like a thief or a terrorist, or
no.
So, I do think it's very funny where you know when they blow up the car and that, and they're sending them all in, and a guy gets prickled by a rose bush. Or something,
and
he's like,
SWAT guys. Oh. And it's really funny.
And the bit where he's like saying, it's like Schiefenfester or Fessa or something
like
to
that.
him, and he's like, shoot the glass,
shoot the glass,
and he can't understand German.
Indeed, it's kind of funny. The scuffle in the office where John is forced to sort of wade through the broken glass is agonising.
Horrible.
Really, really clever.
Anybody that has stepped on glass in their life,
bare feet,
will know how painful that is.
Rough, man.
Horrible.
I think it's really well executed. It's one of my favourite action scenes. The room layout, you get really clever blocking and editing and sort of camera setup choices. You know where everyone is, you know the layout of the room.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
The other thing I quite like is that they show you, like he revisits other places, doesn't he? Where he sees like the girly poster thing on the wall that sort of makes you more aware of where he is.
Spatial layout.
Yeah, the spatial layout. Because if you're in a huge building, how are you going to know where he is? Exactly, is he on? You know,
that's the thing. It's so convenient that office overlooked where he chucked Marco into Al Powell's thing. It's so convenient that happened to be. And then the viewer isn't confused.
Confused where the hell they are.
Exactly. But John's monitoring. He's seeing like Al coming in and out and stuff like that. So the feds arrive and take control. Their first action is to have the power switched off inside of the building. This would be pretty clever, but it feeds into Gruber's plans, as this will automatically disable the last lock of the vault. You ask for miracles, I give you the FB.
It's part of the plan, isn't it?
It's all part of the plan, isn't it? Robert Darby, who we'll be talking about...
Double duty. He's pulling double duty today.
And Grand L. Bush play...
Is that really his name?
Grand L. Bush and Robert Darby play agents Johnson and Johnson.
Yes, no relation.
No, the other one. Which is quite... you know exactly what he's referring to. Grand L. Bush would play the boxer in Street Fighter.
Yes, he did, didn't he?
Stephen East D'Souza thing going on here.
Oh, I did hate them giving them jobs. I hated seeing him as a cameraman.
The feds agree to Gruber's requests for a helicopter and try to scupper his attempts of an escape.
I do love that scene. I do love the scene where the helicopters are chasing around.
Yeah, it's really
well done, that scene.
Really quite perilous as well. But really well executed, really well thought out.
Yeah.
John works out that Gruber is planning to blow up the roof with a load of hostages on it. In place of his goons. So the idea is I'll send up...
And the FBI guys are evil because they're willing to lose, 25% or something?
Something like that, yeah. It's just collateral damage.
Collateral damage, yeah, that's what they call it.
Carl, with his flowing golden locks, and John have a good old scrap, and it looks like Carl is dead. Meanwhile, Gruber discovers that Holly is actually John's wifey, when awful news reporter Richard Thornburg tracks down their family. William Hatherton plays Thornburg. He's basically Walter Peck all over again.
He is, isn't he? He basically is Walter Peck.
Great, yeah.
He's very good. Actually,
I
quite like him.
I love Walter Peck. I love Richard Thornburg.
I do. And I love that newscaster who goes, "That's Helsinki, Sweden."
Helsinki syndrome. What? What? Anyway, the hostages are sent to the roof, and John manages to fend off the FBI agents who believe the hostages are Gruber and his goons. The hostages get away, and Gruber sends the roof up. What's going on with Argyle, you might ask? Well, Theo's hatching a sharp exit and steals a vehicle in the parking garage. Argyle is having none of it, and he traps Theo and he knocks him out.
It's like its own little Die Hard spin-off, isn't it?
Argyle is an American hero.
They could have made a spin-off. It was nowadays. They would have. Yes. You wouldn't have known what would happen, and they would have made like a half an hour Die Hard special spin-off.
Yeah. I'd love an Argyle spin-off.
Die Hard.
He just spends half the show. Yeah, he spends half the movie just on the phone to one of his many romantic interests.
Yeah, exactly.
John confronts Gruber and the last of his henchmen, who have Holly. At first, John surrenders, but caps the henchman and Gruber with a pistol concealed.
Can I mention that's the henchman that is on the reception, right? How did he make it so far into the movie, like right up until the end?
That's a good point. How do you also get up the?
Because you honestly would have thought that somebody like a low-standing sort of henchman that's down at the door.
He'd be one of the lowest ones.
You would think he would get killed a lot sooner than one of the last deaths in the film.
But also, how did he get that far up when the elevator's out? Because John put some C4 in there, didn't he? I presume
he's got good cardio.
Well, he can climb.
He's got good cardio. Yeah, he's going to climb all those steps. He was getting some cardio.
Get some chalk on his hands.
I think we also have to mention that wonderful scene of John McClane jumping off the rooftop of Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah, iconic.
Which is iconic, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, you could see that one shot and you can literally go, that's Die Hard.
That's so perilous.
Yeah. Wonderful, though, isn't it? It's amazing, though, isn't it?
But perilous. Because it's done for real.
I just like... Do you know what I like? I always... Like my auntie used to say, she always loved the Die Hard films, and what she used to say she loved about it was the swearing and the violence in it were sort of semi-justified. Because she used to say, if you were in these situations, if you were in a situation like John McClane, you would be effing and blinding, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because he's panicked. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got
He's under it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really would be...
He's out of his element. He's completely in a different environment. He's got no support in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it happened to me, I'd just be... I don't know what happened. I'd be chucking myself out the window.
Indeed. I don't know what I'd be doing, actually. I don't know.
You'd be in the garage with the cuddly toy in the
I'd be
limo.
hanging out with Argyle.
Yeah, you'd be hanging out with Argyle, wouldn't you?
I'd love to hang out with Argyle. I'd be like, I don't care. I'm just going to hang out with you in the plaza, in the parking lot. Anyway, in true cowboy style, Gruber falls out of the window because he shoots Gruber and he goes out.
Yippee-ki-yo, yeah.
Yippee-ki-yo. And
we're not allowed to say the rest of it.
So he's hanging out the window with Holly in tow.
Yes.
He's sort of hanging off the Rolex that Ellis had gifted her, and is very slowly reaching for his pistol before the clasp comes off and he's sent hurtling through the ether to his lovely death.
Thus we see the end of Gruber and Ellis.
Indeed.
He's wiped out both of them
Existence.
from Holly's life.
It's the best climax, really. It's really simple. It's really,
It is really
tense and
good.
really effective.
Yeah, and I did like the fact that I think they
You say
mentioned,
also
didn't they?
in iconic shots of him flying through the
Oh
window
yes,
and stuff.
him
Gruber
falling.
back.
That is one of the most iconic shots, isn't it?
That's
that
amazing,
one?
yeah.
Yeah,
That
and
look on
and
his
they
face.
and it's a real thing where they dropped him, didn't they? And he didn't know.
I think they were going to... Yeah, he was hung there. Or
Yeah, but they
supported there.
didn't tell him it was just going to suddenly drop.
I think it was like, we're going to do it on the count of like 3.
Yeah.
And they counted 1 and let him go.
Something
And he
like
was
that. Yeah, exactly. So it got that real shocked,
Yeah, it works.
horrific
It works.
surprise. Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, it does.
Great. Game over, man. But no, turns out that Carl survived his lynching. But Pal's got McLean's back and Holly dings Thornburg.
Yes, and after Pal shoots it, because Pal has a problem where he shot a kid.
He did. Shot a
And
kid.
he had a ray gun.
He had a ray
Looked
gun.
real enough.
Looked
didn't
kinda
it?
real enough.
Yeah. But after he shoots Carl, everything's fine.
Everything's
and you actually
tickety.
see him smile, and as Argyle pulls up, he's ready to shoot Argyle. Because if you look at him, he is ready to go.
Is he ready to go?
Yeah, he's ready to go, and he's smiling, and he's like, oh, I'm over it. Huh?
Why would you kill Argyle?
No, what I'm saying is, when he finds out he's okay, he's smiling. But what I mean is, he's ready to, after he offs Carl, he's like, right, now done that, I've got over the hump now. I'm ready to get back on the streets
Get
and
back
shoot
on that horse
some more
and ride.
kids with,
Oh my God.
with laser guns.
So, Core Blast, what do you think of Die Hard?
I think Die Hard is a classic.
Yes.
It's a classic action movie. It's one of the best action movies.
Yeah.
It's a movie that I grew up with. Grew up from, I must have been about 11 when I saw it, 11, 12 maybe.
Sure.
I grew up watching it as a teenager and that, and it's just one of those legendary films that just sort of you always come back to. I do want to address the Christmas or not
It's definitely a
debate.
Christmas film.
For me, I say it is a Christmas film, but
It is, absolutely.
but it's not about Christmas. Because do you see it as a Christmas
Christmas
film
is-
is about Christmas, or is it set at Christmas?
A film involving Christmas.
Right. But how many elements of Christmas does it have to have in it to be a Christmas film?
Well, this one is set on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And having it be set during Christmas Eve is really important to the plot because it means that there's no construction workers, there's no
Yeah.
other people lingering around.
Yeah.
The police are probably working at half
So
capacity.
it is a Christmas movie.
There's nobody on the streets, there's nothing going on.
Because I'm sure there's some viewers that probably won't agree with us. If you don't agree, make sure you comment.
Gruber's plot can't really work
Yeah.
with that building being full.
Yeah.
And he knows that soiree, that party, is going to have all the people in there that he needs in there.
Yeah.
He's got hostages, he's got...
But there is a debate about this, isn't there?
I'm struggling to see what the debate would be.
Okay. Well, there is a debate about it.
What's the
yeah.
debate? What's the...
Well, the debate is some people see it as not a Christmas film.
It's a Christmas film.
And some people see it
it's a great... It's one of the great action films, to be fair. But
Yeah.
it's a Christmas film in the sense that Christmas is absolutely integral to
It
the
is
plot.
integral to the part, and there are Christmas elements of the film, isn't it? You know,
Yeah. There's Santas in it.
But
There are Santas in it.
but the thing is, I do think you can watch
There's
it
Christmas songs in it.
There is. You're right. It's true.
The Gruber's plot can't work without this really being Christmas.
Yeah.
So of course,
Yeah.
what's the argument?
Well, just that there is a debate about that.
Right. This launched Alan Rickman's career.
Yes, because he sort of started a bit older, didn't he?
I think he was a little bit along the way. Shall we say, in his
before he really
career,
became
before he
really famous.
kicked off.
Yeah,
And I think he followed this up with like Robin Hood, which
Yeah.
he was
I
incredible.
think
in
it's
that
just
as
a
well.
shame that he gets remembered for Snape. all the time?
I don't know. I don't know the Harry Potter films. So.
Well, I don't mind it. I don't mind that, but I think he's done such a good body of work. Why remember him just for that? It's like remembering Bruce Willis just for this.
I mean, you could.
Well, I'm sorry. A close one to me is The Fifth Element. So
fair enough. Bruce Willis has got such a great
I love blonde Bruce. So
Sixth Sense, Pulp Fiction. He's got some incredible films on his list. Though.
I think it's just very sad about poor Bruce Willis because of his condition.
But at the same time, he seems to be surrounded by a loving family that are taking care of him. He's got an incredible body of work. I just
think it's a shame because he's one of the big action stars, isn't he?
Definitely, yeah.
Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Ken Wall.
So I would suspect that Christoph Waltz channeled his Hans Gruber for his performance as Lando.
Oh, okay.
Both charismatic scumbags who can turn the mood in a moment.
Yes, yeah. I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I see a lot of Hans Gruber in Lando. Personally.
Yeah.
For me, this is one of the finest action films. It's a perfect blend of action, spectacle, and humour and tension.
This is probably one of the best action films ever. I think.
I agree. The characters are memorable and distinct. The performances are pretty fantastic across the board. Perhaps the filmmaking is excellent. There's always little details that you pick up in rewatches. The script is solid and full of quotes. The photography and the editing choices are really well thought out. It's big.
Yeah, it is a big movie. If you don't like Die Hard, what is wrong with you? Unless you don't like violence. Because if you're a pacifist and you don't want to watch this kind of thing, then...
Yeah, I think the film got some criticism when it was released purely for how violent it was.
I think so, and I think also it got criticism because obviously Bruce Willis at the time was seen as a comedy actor.
He was.
It was a bit like the sort of Michael Keaton thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You can't have Michael Keaton as Batman, he's a comedy actor.
Yeah, I think that's why they make a couple of instances, I think you referred to it a moment ago, they make a couple of references or instances where he's a manly man. So when the drunk lad comes and kisses him at the party.
Yes,
he sort of fends him off.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he gets all macho, doesn't he?
And when he passes by the bevy of top-heavy lovelies, the pictures on the lockers or whatever it is, he acknowledges them.
Yes, he acknowledges them. Yeah,
so they're trying to make him look like a manly man, tough man, right?
And they're putting him in the vest as well. It gives him a bit more.
He's got a scar on his shoulder as well, isn't he?
He has. Is that Bruce Willis's real scar?
I don't know.
I think it might be.
Okay.
I think it might be because I think I've seen it in other films.
Fine.
So I think Bruce Willis might have a genuine scar there like Harrison Ford in his chin.
Indeed. I didn't know if that was the case, but if that weren't the case, I think a scar would have also toughened him up a bit.
Oh, yeah, it would, yeah. I also like John McClane's tattoo, the one of the skull with the top hat on.
Yeah, is that real? That's a real tattoo, isn't it?
I think it is real because he's got it in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Right. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Hot Town. The successes of Die Hard would spawn a number of sequels and inspire a load of terrible rip-offs, such as The Taking of Beverly Hills. The Taking of Beverly Hills is a 1991 action film directed by Sidney J. Furie, who is behind the Iron Eagle films.
Yes.
The Entity, Icarus Files, Superman 4.
Superman 4.
That's
classic.
a really weird filmography.
Terrible film.
Really weird filmography.
One of the worst Superman films.
Can you get it on 4K?
Yes, you can.
Oh, that might need to be done.
You can, yeah.
Following a prolonged introduction / title sequence in which the producers paid to license that music track, so they're damn well playing the entire length
They
of
play
that
the
track.
whole thing, don't they? Diamond on my back. Do-do-do-do. It's absolutely terrible, and it's basically telling you to be thankful for what you've got.
Indeed.
Especially these rich Hollywood bitches with all the money.
We wind up at a charity event where rich people can come and feel better about themselves. It is here where we are introduced to the baddies, such as football team head Bat Masterson, that's a character name, played by Bobby Davy, and Weasley scumbag Varney, played by Lee Ving. Enter limping, past his prime football star god David Boomer Hayes, who attends this dreadful function and winds up leaving with a hot dame named Laura Sage. What are your opening thoughts?
The mullet.
The mullet.
The mullet. The mullet is a character on its own, isn't it?
Yes.
I think Ken Wall,
It's
honestly...
1991, he's got a mullet.
He seriously should have got a huge paycheck, one for his mullet, for this.
His paycheck should have got a mullet.
His paycheck should have got a mullet. His mullet was what romanced
Yes.
blonde 80s bimbo into bed.
It did. Well, of course it would, wouldn't it?
Because everybody looks 80s at the beginning of 90s, don't they?
I
Do you know what I mean?
so, that crossover.
You get that crossover period, like the end of the 70s, where they, it's...
Yeah.
Beginning of the 80s, they still look 70s.
But there were mullets that back in fashion at like the early 2000s again, weren't there?
Well, yeah.
There were mullets again.
Well,
Russell Brand had a mullet, didn't he?
Well, yeah. I
But
mean,
Russell
I've
Brand's-
never rocked a mullet, so...
Okay. So the longest intro
I do want to mention that Wall did all his own stunts in this
doesn't
film.
surprise. I was going to ask that, actually.
I think he did do all his own stunts in this,
Okay,
and so did the actor who's Benitez.
Okay, Benitez, we'll
If I'm saying that wrong,
absolutely
we must talk about
Benitez
him, but
shortly.
Forgive me if I say it's hard word saying it. It's Benitez.
Benitez, yeah.
Benitez, yeah.
We'll be talking about him because he's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's the longest intro
It's
title
horrible.
sequence in
It's
history.
horrible. It's just shots of people shopping on Rodeo Drive.
Yeah.
There's a long scene of a girl roller skating or something for no reason. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, well, why isn't there not just a
Because
quick
it's
shot?
LA, baby. This is Beverly Hills.
But just a quick shot of her. Why are we following her? She has nothing to do with this movie.
It's because you have to have permits to film in places, don't you?
Right.
Right.
Okay, so they wanted to use up all that.
Well, that's the thing. It's as if the producers or whatever have got this license for the track, so they're going to use all of it. They've had a permit to shoot in Rodeo Drive or whatever for an hour, so they're using all the footage that they shot there because we're going to get the money's worth.
Yeah. We find out that basically Beverly Hills is Vatican City for the rich.
Pretty much.
And we hear this boring monologue at the beginning from what's his name?
Oh, Matt Frewer, Ed.
Yeah,
Max Headroom.
Max Headroom, yeah. Max Headroom. Sorry, I forgot. I had a Alzheimer's moment.
Oh dear.
Max Headroom, yeah.
Right. I like Max Headroom in this.
I don't like him.
Okay. Just because this is our introduction. This is my first introduction to Ken Wall, who wasn't a sports star or something before getting into this. Was that correct?
I know nothing about Ken Wall.
Okay. He's an interesting... he's an interesting...
I know there's a grooming company called Wall.
He's an interesting choice for an action hero. He's the widest neck of any animal. Robert Darby is always great is really good value or in the villain role.
I think he shows up for this.
Yeah, okay.
I think he does. No. I think he does. I think he does show up for this, especially later on.
Has he ever played a good guy?
No.
Bobby Davi. His career trajectory.
He was the villain in License to Kill, wasn't he?
I think he
The
was.
007 film as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he plays... Well, I mean, he was FBI in Die Hard, but even they were villains.
Even they're kind of working against them. His career is slightly tailed off slightly in recent years as his far-right political leanings cast a very wide shadow. So, Laura and Boomer return to Boomer's house. Beautiful mansion.
He makes a deal with her, doesn't he?
Well, yes.
He makes a deal to give her a certain amount of days with kids to teach them, American football and stuff. Some Sunday mornings or whatever.
It's like a bargain.
Yeah, like a bargain. And she'll spend 8 hours with him or something.
Indeed. They have a pleasant chat.
And then she decides she wants to go for the D. So,
right.
touchdown.
It becomes intimate, that's what we should say.
He makes a touchdown.
Things get a little intimate.
These sporting terms.
Meanwhile, a big truck carrying a lot of hazardous chemicals crashes close by, spewing toxic nasties all over the streets of the Beverly Hills. The locals are packed onto buses and ferried away to quarantine to a fancy pants hotel in Century City, while the Popo and the EPA tackle the chemical spill. Laura and Boomer wind up in Boomer's enormous bathtub.
I love that bath.
Where things become romantic. Laura steps away and notices the commotion going on outside and is whisked away by the authorities off to quarantine. She tries to alert the authorities to Boomer, who is still inside the house, but they assume that Boomer is a dog. Boomer is not a dog. He is merely a man with a wide neck. So local officer Ed Kelvin finds himself swept up into the events. It's all a terrible ruse, you see, because the Popo and the EPA folks are using wrist calculator computer things.
This is where we hear ELF, innit?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it goes into like this bit where it goes... Whoa, 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 whoa.
There are some amazing needle drops in this movie.
Yeah. Well, especially when they drop it just as he goes... take it. So just as you get the taking of Beverly, it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
You're unbelievable, dude. Brilliant. And I love the scene where the crazy Navajo madman Benitez comes storming into Beverly Hills and crashes that Access Chemicals truck.
Indeed.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's the plot is that they've got the EPA, the people dressed up and they're with wrist
Yes, the actual Beverly Hills police are in on this.
The idea is to get the people out of the houses with this chemical spill thing, and then just
they're having a great time, aren't they? On the bus, they're living their best lives, aren't they?
Absolutely, of course they are. This is really exciting.
And where do they take them, John?
To a fancy pants hotel in Century City.
Yeah, I wonder what hotel that is, or I wonder what building that is.
Is it the Nakatomi?
I think it is.
Is it really? I didn't notice that at all.
I think it is.
Oh God.
I think it is Nakatomi Plaza.
Oh God, it's just.
You just think these people are having a wonderful time. They're sitting on the stairs, all the dogs are pooing all over the place, and they're drinking champagne. And like a few years before, John McClane has been jumping off the top of it.
Killing people and chucking them at policemen out of a window.
Jumping through windows attached to water hoses.
Yeah. So they're breaking in at various spots and stealing all manner of people's valuables in general. Are they blocking drains and leaving taps on like Harry and Marv? It's hard to say. So wrist computers then.
Yes, they've got these computers that basically tell them what everything is worth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And all the things that they're sort of ticking off. I've got all those bits.
That technology doesn't exist now in 2023. Like, how does this in 1991? It's really weird. They're able to unlock security doors and stuff like that with them as well.
Yeah. I just like the fact the police all go in that room and those two guys
just sort of keep them in there.
They just go up and lock the door.
Just lock them in there. But obviously Boomer and Ed kind of rescue them, I suppose. So that's a good thing. Anyway, the mayor turns up and is shot dead at one of the entry points.
I always laugh when that bit happens. It's so hilarious.
In my rubbish car. Yeah. Officer Ed is appalled. There is to be no killing, you see. Elsewhere, Boomer eventually gets himself out of the tub and goes looking around for Laura. He notices the commotion outside and is rushed by thieves while wearing nothing but a towel.
Yes.
His wet mullet whipping that enormous neck raw. The tussle continues and Boomer finds himself trapped inside of his bathroom, but Officer Ed intervenes because Officer Ed's really cool.
Yeah, he comes to his aid.
Boomer gets clued in and the pair seek to escape. He really does need to take it easier on that bum knee. He
really does. I mean, he already had to give himself a cortisone injection before he could even get going. So,
have you ever been rushed by thieves?
Myself?
While only wearing a towel? And if you haven't, who would you like to be?
I would, I don't know, rushed by thieves.
Or heavies.
Possibly in a
Goons.
Guy Ritchie sense, maybe. Oof. You know, like two really big heavies come in and go, "Oh, mate, we told you not to mess with Boss Man." You know what I mean? And I'm like standing there in my towel going, "You're going to beat me up now, aren't you?"
Yeah, I'm only wearing a towel.
We're not going to beat you up, we're going to duff you up. Oh, that's even worse.
My hair's all wet. I like the buddy cop angle of Boomer and Ed.
Well, the thing is, Ed is important because Boomer can't shoot a gun.
No.
Boomer doesn't, as he says, I'll stab.
He can do other weaponry things, though.
I'll stab person. I'll be throwing, ninja stars at him.
Yeah, he throws ninja stars. He throws a bomb like a football at one. We'll get into that shortly.
He does. But I'm not shooting anybody with a gun.
It's got a code. It's got a code.
Which makes him really... It puts him at a very big disadvantage to John McClane.
Yes.
Since John McClane 1 is trained to actually being a cop, being a cop. He trains for gunfire.
Yeah.
And Boomer Hayes just doesn't really know.
He doesn't know anything.
Anything really. He just wants to know where his woman is.
Where Laura Sage is. Laura Sage.
Laura Sage. Oh God.
Enter a mad lad in a tank, busting through those buildings and streets, hunting our heroes. Benitez is played by Branscombe Richmond.
What?
Yeah, he's my favourite character in the film, and Richmond has been in a million things.
He has
as an actor and as a
stunt performer. He's like always in the stuff, like Peter Stormare.
Sure, he's been in things. He's got a really impressive resume. Actually, he's got Renegade and Commando and Mortal Kombat and Scorpion King and They Live.
Oh wow!
Yeah, But I think Branscombe Richmond is like one of the names that you make up for people.
Yes.
For our listeners at home. Jason lives in a very colourful part of town, populated by very colourful characters to whom he will, is it safe to say, invent names and background stories for, such as the Coffin Captain, the Scouse Vampire, and so on. Branscombe...
Don't forget old Rafa.
And Rafa.
Old Rafa, the man with the old dog, Trog.
Branscombe Richmond could be a name that
does,
you'd make up for
It
something.
sounds like I made his name up, doesn't it?
Indeed. He just sort of shows up, and I like that. It's like he was just sitting at home awaiting the call.
Do you know what I like?
Mate, we need you to come with your tank. And he's like, I'll be there in 10.
Do you know what he's like? He's like Benedict Wong. They give him a call, we're making a sci-fi movie. I'm there.
I'm in. In like Flynn, isn't it?
Yeah. No, he really turns up for this. I love the Venom. He hates them so much.
It's just out of nowhere.
For no reason.
Yeah, for no context.
Because he's a hitman, so really it should all be quite sort of neutral for him. Like, you're just a job for me to kill. You know, you're
a contract.
Yeah, you're a contract. You're a job. But he sort of takes on this sort of like, I'm going to make sure I kill you, Boomer Hayes.
Yeah. Much like Mads Mikkelsen in The Dial of Destiny, Benitez functions like an end-of-level boss.
Yes.
In this, like an end-of-level video game boss.
I really don't feel, though, he got his... I like the way...
We'll talk about his
we
death.
must talk about that.
We'll get into that shortly. Boomer grabs his team jersey.
While we're talking about the tank...
Sure.
They jump in the garbage can.
They do.
Have you ever seen such clean garbage? It's just
Beverly
branch.
Hills.
It's just branches.
It's just yard rubbish, isn't it?
It's a yard rubbish.
Yeah, over here it'd be syringes over here.
It's not like used condoms, is it? You know what I mean? Not sorts of used plasters with dried blood on them or something.
Or just filth.
Yeah, or a child's
Right.
diaper or something.
Indeed,
You know?
yeah. Or just a dead hobo.
Yeah, because Ken Wall and Max Headroom were like, we ain't getting in all that crap. So we're, you know.
It saved your life, though, didn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Boomer grabs his team jersey, cortisones his knee, and seeks to foil the robbery with edge. So, the swift arrival of the EPA is questioned by Chief Healy, played by Ferris Bueller's dad.
Yes. I love that. That little conversation between the EPA villain man and him.
Yeah.
I love the EPA man where he just sits there and goes...
He's sort of just brushing him off.
Yeah, because he's like, what do you think we're doing here?
Yeah.
And then he just answers all the questions, doesn't he? I really like that EPA guy, though.
Yeah.
I don't know who that actor is.
I don't know who he is, but he's just sort of bluffing his way through
He's just a bluffer, isn't he? He's just like nervously smoking and bluffing.
Ferris Bueller's dad. So Laura follows Bat. So we're at the hotel.
We're at the hotel, with all the rich people in there, and the dogs are
Chief
everywhere.
is, and that's where he's getting at.
Yeah.
Laura follows Bat through a labyrinth of corridors to an off-limits corner of the building, where Bat basically reveals his hideous plans to Laura and the audience, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like some weird sort of like level underneath a laboratory or something, isn't it?
Bat has a Bat cave of sorts.
I love it. Oh, you went there.
I went there with labs and computers receiving data from the computer wrist thingies.
And he's a man as well, called Bat.
He is Bat.
He is a Bat.
There's always a bottle of Johnny Walker in there, isn't there? So he has a sip. There's just a bottle of Johnny Walker sitting there.
I think that's probably real.
There was always booze laying around in the old days.
There was. And
like hard booze.
Yeah, and also inside that limo, which I believe is also Bat's limo, they find the Baccarat crystal cognac thing, don't they? Like the one that killed Doug Coughlin, isn't it?
Indeed.
It's the same bottle.
It's like in Mad Men. You'd have a character welcome another character into an office and they just whip out booze.
Yeah, they just whip out do you want a neat vodka? At 10 in the morning.
Whiskey or whatever. Here's some booze.
Yeah.
You don't get that nowadays.
No, but who starts their day with booze these days? I don't think
Thankfully, times have changed.
Yeah, thankfully.
There's no regard for, I'm gluten-free or something. Do you know
the
what
other
I mean?
thing I want to talk about is the guy in the pyjamas playing cards.
Yes.
With the chief of police.
Indeed.
The spermicide guy, who has a lot to say about the chemicals and all that, and that he has a spermicide company. And then the chief of police tells him that he loves his products, and the guy says he's happy he's happy he's still banging his wife. Doesn't he? He's like, I'm happy you're still using them and that. He's basically saying,
I'm glad I'm helping.
But what is that?
What is that to do with anything
anything?
in this? Yeah, other than these out-of-touch rich people. Anyway, Laura gets caught eavesdropping and is chased around the corridors by a bat.
Yes.
Laura sort of fakes a grisly fall, but is nevertheless caught.
She's got a lot of strength in her upper arms.
She does, actually.
Yeah,
She's holding
hanging
herself
from
up
that.
there.
Yeah,
she's
hanging from that
suspending from this thing.
Yeah.
This rail.
The rail, yeah.
Thingy.
And he thinks she's fallen into the fan, doesn't he?
But he catches her anyway, and he winds up stunning her with a stun gun.
Yeah.
And he keeps her in a bunker room thing, which is really disturbing.
It was a little bit, especially like the way he sort of pillow talks to her.
Don't like it.
You know, after he's stunned, like, there was like, you know, a spark between us and stuff.
Yeah, don't like.
No.
Meanwhile, we have to move away from that because it's so dark. Meanwhile, Boomer and Ed acquire some petrol or gas, and begin to make some Molotovs.
Yes.
Which Boomer dispatches with his very clever American football arm.
Yeah, well, there's a picture on the cover of the...
Yeah.
But he's got a champagne bottle in that one.
He's got like a decanter kind of...
Yeah, they're Baccarat Crystal.
Cue a pretty cool chase, actually, through a car park in which Benitez gets to play with a flamethrower.
He's everywhere.
He's like an end-of-level boss.
It's like that flamethrower guy from Mad Max.
Yes.
You know the one that's everywhere, coming out the guitar, isn't it? Yeah.
Just turn up with flamethrower.
He says that flamethrower's just going everywhere. I mean, if there was any bystanders, they'd surely be burned.
But they'd be torched. They'd be burned. It's not like, ow, that's hot. This ends with Boomer and Ed dropping through the roof of a Japanese restaurant. The chase through the car park is actually pretty fantastic, I think. And
yes. Is this where we hear Faith No More? Epic?
No, not
we
yet.
hear that after that?
We'll get into that shortly, because that's
near
my
it, is it?
favourite part.
Yeah, we hear Epic. I'm just like, oh my god.
I love, so the duo work out that the main target, a mural on Bobby Davi's wall, and attack the thieves with ninja throwing stars.
Yes, off the wall.
While Epic by Faith No More plays. I was not expecting Epic. I saw this with you once.
You did?
And I completely forgot about Epic.
I always forget about it though as well.
Yeah.
It's like in Hateful Eight. I always forget Channing Tatum is in it.
It's just hiding under the floorboards.
Yeah, because you don't see him.
At this point, Varney plants a bomb at a momentarily passed out Boomer and Ed's feet.
But he saved it. He was saving that bomb for a special occasion.
He was.
That's what he says.
He was. Boomer acts fast and throws the bomb into Varney's van because he's a footballer. Again, it genuinely looks like Waller's doing his own stunts. He's running from
I think he is.
Is he?
I also noticed
that's
that. I also noticed that. What's his name? Sorry, the guy with the name that sounds like I made him up.
Richmond. Richmond.
Yes,
Benitez.
Mr. Richmond. He. I noticed when he did a fast stunt where he's got a light.
Right.
He's on fire.
Okay.
That is him.
Wow. Yeah. I think he is a stunt performer.
Yeah, that is him as he jumps off because I looked especially to look.
I love him.
I love him. Are you going to mention his weapon?
Go ahead.
The telescopic scalpel.
Indeed.
The most useful weapon of any hitman.
The hell? So it turns out the crown jewel mural part of the heist was just an elaborate insurance fiddle all along, right?
Yes, this was the whole thing behind it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Benitez,
he wants to take over Laura Sage's father's company, or get on the board or something, doesn't he?
Get within it,
through this heist.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's just some stupid ruse.
It's kind of the reverse of Die Hard, because in Die Hard they want money.
Right.
But he doesn't need any money.
Right.
So he just wants power. He wants power over money.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff that's being stolen doesn't really... There's no real value to it. I mean, there is value, but
there's enormous value to it.
But it's no value to him. Like her father says in the beginning, the money you give to the poor people means so much to them and so little to you, or something, doesn't it? It means so much to them but so little to you, because a couple of million to him is nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
He just wants, as you say,
he wants power, and he wants her as well.
Yeah.
He
doesn't.
He wants her as the trophy.
Come on.
The amount of nights that I fantasised over Laura Sage as a teenager.
Oh dear. Sorry, listeners. So anyway, Benitez confronts Boomer, who is very slowly fleeing with Ed flopped over his shoulder.
Yes.
As some sort of James Bond style music plays over it. Boomer defeats Benitez with a rock.
He bashes his head in with a rock. Thingy. Idi Amin style.
Oh God. It's very anticlimactic.
It really is. I like the way he dies because, especially how he gets hit in the head, he becomes unconscious, and then just right at the end, you sort of see him go, ugh.
Yeah.
And he sort of head turns. So you like, you know, he's actually passed on.
Yeah. You see the life just end.
I would have preferred to have seen Boomer stick that scalpel right up his jacksie.
Oh God. Oh, right. Actually, yeah, go for it. But
that would have been hilarious.
At the same time, like, Benitez is incompetent.
Or the scalpel could have gone up Benitez's nose or something. That would have been hilarious.
But Benitez is incompetent, so having a rubbish death kind of actually works out.
Well, yeah, because he's a terrible hitman. Hitmen don't go around just flailing a flamethrower around or shooting guns into you. That's like what a cowboy does, you know, shooting it. Yeah, no, they don't do that. And also, he should have been killed like that because Boomer really hates guys that don't like football.
That is true.
Yeah. And that's why he throws it at him.
He does.
Yeah.
So Bat tries to, as you say, blackmail
Laura. Yeah. He wants to marry her so that she can't testify against him.
It's sort of blackmail marry Laura.
Blackmail marriage, yeah.
Laura, and he uses the metaphor of being broken-hearted by pointing an antique crossbow at her.
Yes. She asks him, "How would you kill me?" Doesn't she?
Right.
He gets a crossbow. He goes straight through the heart.
Straight through the heart. Jeez. Boomer comes crashing down and hurts Darby inside. Darby's blood looks like ice cream syrup.
Yes. But that has that little tiny bit of blood at the end just to know that he actually... Because he puts a...
Drip.
He puts a corkscrew, like a pressurised corkscrew in his...
Yeah.
I thought it would have been better if he died with the inhaler in some way.
Oh.
Because that was his Achilles heel, the inhaler, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they didn't really exercise that, did
they should have done something like where he, stuffed the inhaler in his eyes, or he choked him to death with the inhaler or something.
It's almost as if this is a bad film.
It is, isn't it? Or do you know what would have been even more anticlimactic?
What's that?
He starts to fight Boomer, has an asthma attack, and just
keels over.
He just keels over and lays on the floor for 5 minutes, gasping for breath, and then passes out and dies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Boomer and Laura are just standing there watching him ebb away.
The big boy statue makes another appearance during the aftermath.
It does, yes.
What's with the big boy statue? Okay. Ed gets packed away to hospital and Boomer and Laura have a smooch. What are your general thoughts about
Boomer decides that Ed has done enough that evening to reconcile his criminal activity.
Sure.
So he's made up for it.
He's done. He's penance.
Yeah. This film
is rubbish.
This might be controversial, but I'm gonna actually say that I think this is the better film out of the two.
No, you can't.
I'm not gonna say that, am I?
You've literally, with great respect, like 10 minutes ago you were saying like, I thought it was one of the greatest action films of the
No,
with regards to Die Hard.
Okay, right. This is, if you've never seen Die Hard and you want to see
this would still be rubbish. Even if Die Hard never existed, this would still be rubbish.
No, but say you want to see Die Hard, but you've never been able to have access to it. So say you've accidentally fallen back in time.
Right.
So you don't have access to the internet and you can't buy Die Hard on YouTube or any other streaming service.
Is that why you buy movies on YouTube, is it?
No, I don't buy them.
Buy movies.
I'm just saying that if you go back, you'd have to, like nowadays, you could get access to Die Hard. But if you haven't got access to Die Hard,
sure.
And you're a 90-year-old man and you're thinking before you die you want to see Die Hard, but you can't find it, but you can find, which you won't be able to find, Boomer, Überfall auf Hollywood, which is the Taking of Beverly Hills in German. If you can't find that, you could watch the Taking of Beverly Hills as a compensation film.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Well, that's a really weird way of trying to promote this movie. If you're 90 years old and you can't get access to Die Hard, but you want to see Die Hard, watch the German version of this film is what you're basically saying.
Who's the... No, but how easy is it going to be to get access to Die Hard? Very.
I think it's everywhere.
You can get it everywhere streaming, aren't you?
Sure, I think it's on Disney Plus.
It's on
TV periodically.
Yeah, or you can even just buy it off Amazon or whatever, right?
Right.
So you're going to have a harder time finding the Taking of Beverly Hills, probably, because I did.
I did.
Oh, no, you did, yeah. Sorry, you did, yeah. No, you were the one who got me, aren't you?
Anyway, yeah, it's fun. There's absolutely no substance to this whatsoever. It's fun because it's so silly.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that I used to watch when I was a teenager when I had really bad insomnia and I'd be up like 2, 3 in the morning.
Okay.
And it'd be one of those films that I would kind of just like, you know, when
this was a Sky Movies movie.
Yeah,
back in the day,
so it'd be on at like 2 in the morning and
Right.
you just sort of, you know that thing where this is in like Fight Club where you're sort of half watching it and you're not, you're sort of in a hazy, sleepy, awake thing. And I'd watch it and I'd think, yeah, this'll do. This is good.
Oh my God.
This has all the things a young boy wants to see. It has romance. It has action. Explosions. I'm sorry, Die Hard doesn't have a telescopic scalpel.
Doesn't. That is true. But I take...
But it has a lot more C4 than what Barney had.
It has Ellis.
Yeah.
It has so much more of it in this movie. So I think... I mean, you said it really quite well earlier. I think Darby is a terrible actor, but I like him in this. And it does feel like he actually turned up for this.
Yeah, and you feel like he is putting effort into being a villain in it and that.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse when actors just show up. You know, it's like Raul Julia. He really showed up for Street Fighter.
Oh, a terrible movie. But
terrible movie, but he really put everything into that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
you have to...
he had left, really.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this film, at the time, they were actually trying to promote Ken Wall as an action star. Right. And I think it was one of those things where, a bit like Sienna Miller, it just never really happened.
She was in everything for a while.
Just no disrespect to her, but she just never made it big, did she?
Sure, I think she's been in some big things, though.
Yeah, but she's never made it as a really big actor,
No,
unfortunately.
Not quite.
And I think Ken Wall, they were trying to push him as one of the big, you know...
Yeah.
And
I think Ken Wall could have been a good second tier.
He was a
star.
TV actor, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah, not quite a Stallone or a Schwarzenegger, but perhaps a Van Damme level action star, a Seagal level action star.
More Seagal, I would have said.
Right.
Probably more than Van Damme because Van Damme has all the knowledge.
Has physical
knowledge, and he can do those amazing splits at the drop of a hat, can't he?
I think Seagal is a martial arts master.
Yeah, I don't think
many years ago
Ken Wall really had any strings to his bow there. And he's not even really particularly muscular either.
He isn't at all.
No,
he's got
so
that
it's
neck, to be fair.
He's got the neck, but
don't talk about the neck.
His head is quite lovely.
That mullet is incredible. Can you imagine, like, his career must have been over? It's like Jennifer Grey correcting her nose.
Yeah.
That career is over when he shaved that mullet off. I love how Wall just about maintained that limp. Just about maintains it. I love the rapport between Wall and Frewer. I nearly said Führer.
You need to say Führer.
I love the rapport between Wall and Frewer. I love the buddy cop dynamic.
Yeah.
Quite like that. That's quite good. I suspect we'll be the only podcast ever covering this particular movie. Certainly this double bill.
Yes, definitely.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure for me.
It was a bit... Yeah, you recommended this one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it again. It's a terrible movie. I enjoyed it.
I quite like it because it is terrible.
It's so silly.
Yeah. I mean, this film is terrible but in a good way.
Indeed.
You know, if you just want to put on an hour and a half of rubbish...
I think if you're a fan of that kind of late 80s,
that sort of
early
cheesy...
to mid 90s, cheesy macho action, you're going to love this.
Yeah, I used to watch a thing... Burt Reynolds made a series of TV movies called BJ something.
Okay, don't know.
And I can't remember what the last name... But they were very much like this sort of... Right. You know, he was sort of a detective in it, and it was this kind of sort of rubbishy, actiony...
It's kind of,
he made a few films of it. It does not like he made a few as this same character. Okay. But he was called BJ something.
Okay. I mean, like the Chuck Norris-y type of thing, that kind of... But this is a bit more buddy copy humour. If you're a fan of those, I would recommend this. Yeah. I'm surprised this doesn't have like a boutique release.
Yeah, that's like a shame, isn't it?
88 films or something.
Yeah, because it's not sold in this country, is it?
No, not to my knowledge.
So shame on us and thingy. Well done, Germany.
Well done, Deutsche.
Well done, Germany, for bringing out so many great old 90s films. I mean, I got Mr. Baseball.
You did?
From Germany.
Is it a Kino release that we've got? Because we've got the Blu-ray on the table at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it Turbine or is it Who is it?
It's Ascot Elite.
Okay. I don't know
Home
that company.
Entertainment. No.
It's usually Turbine that usually puts the comic
Right.
stuff out.
And also, I also got the Ice Storm. That's another German one.
Is that Kevin Kline?
Yeah, the Kevin Kline one.
Okay.
I also got What Lies Beneath.
Oh. Is that not got a UK release?
Nope.
On Blue?
Not as far as I know.
Mind-boggling.
Not when I bought it. It didn't.
No kidding.
I had to send off for Germany to Germany for it.
Oh, they're so efficient, aren't they?
They are. They're brilliant.
I do love the Germans.
Yeah.
So join us again as we're doing something slightly different now.
Oh, okay.
Just the one film.
Oh, okay.
Join us again as we'll be discussing The Shining.
Wow. Okay.
I feel that there's enough in that movie to do one episode on.
I think so. I think there's a lot to unpack in
There's
The
a
Shining.
lot to
There's
talk about.
so much.
So we're going to
in The
do
Shining.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Good man. You can
All
find us
right.
on Letterboxd and Red Bastard.
I am Kurja_Relon.
How's that spelled?
KERJA_RELON.
You can find us on Instagram.
Cinemattraction_podcast.
Be the light.
Oh no.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
And if you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. If you think Die Hard is a Christmas film, leave a comment.
It is.
If you think...
Let's just explain, because I get the feeling that you really don't think it is a Christmas film.
No,
so
I
just
do.
For the sake,
No, I do,
Why
but
do you
there
keep
are
bringing it
people
up
that
with
don't.
You
Because
keep
there are
raising
people
an
that
eyebrow.
don't. Because there are people that don't.
Okay.
And I would like to know why they don't think it's a Christmas film. Because to me, a Christmas film is either something that's set at Christmas.
It's set at Christmas.
With a big Christmas flavour to it.
There's a Christmas flavour to it. They're playing songs, there's Santas.
Like Gremlins. Gremlins isn't a Christmas film. The story.
It's set at Christmas.
But it's set at Christmas enough to say, you know, it's got a Christmas song at the beginning.
Yeah.
Christmas, isn't it? Yeah. So.
Darling Love.
Is that what it's called?
So I think she's the performer. So
Oh,
Baby
right.
Please Come Home. Or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that one. Yeah. So, okay.
So what are your favourite Christmas films, just out of curiosity?
My favourite Christmas films. Surviving Christmas
Yes.
is one of my favourite Christmas films.
I didn't like that one.
No?
No, you made me watch that.
Nightmare Before Christmas is another favourite of mine.
Yeah. Is
I
that
had
a Halloween film or is that?
God.
There
I
it
had
is.
to have
Tables
this,
have
I had
turned,
to have
aren't
this
they?
argument with Cheryl. I had to say to her, because she wanted to buy a Nightmare Before Christmas t-shirt, and I was like, she was like, I could wear that Halloween. I was like, it's a Christmas t-shirt.
Well, it's Christmas and Halloween.
Well, I think more Christmas, really.
But it's both.
Yeah. It's Halloween characters at Christmas.
Okay.
Exactly.
Any others? I like Trading Places. I love Scrooged. I love It's a Wonderful Life. I love National Lampoons.
I like Holiday Inn. I like some of the older
Charlie Brown
ones.
Christmas. That's a really good one.
Miracle on 34th Street, the old one.
Okay.
The old 40.
Oh,
Is it 42?
Yeah.
One? I like a lot of the old.
The oldie Christmas
Yeah,
films.
the oldie Christmas films.
Why are we talking about Christmas? Who knows?
I don't know. We were saying about the Die Hard Christmas thing.
Okay, now you bye-bye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get that message.